What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video, and in this video we're going to be continuing on with another SwiftUI tutorial, and in this particular tutorial we are going to be taking a look at the toggle in SwiftUI. Now, a toggle can take various forms on iOS, iPadOS, and watchOS, as well as visionOS, and pretty much any other platform that isn't Mac OS. Toggle takes the default appearance of a switch, where you've got a little thumb and then a track it moves along back and forth to toggle between on and off. You can use that appearance on Mac OS as well, but when you use that appearance on Mac OS, there are certain guidelines in the human interface guidelines that state you should only use that particular toggle switch appearance on macOS for toggling major settings. Okay. Now, other than the toggle switch appearance, there is also a toggle button appearance. So you can have what looks like a button, like a normal button, and it will, it'll allow you to toggle it on and off, and that sort of thing. Those do have their uses, especially in toolbars. And then there is the checkbox. Now, the checkbox appearance is only available on macOS. And then in Mac Catalyst, you can also get a checkbox, but you have to use automatic, and your Mac Catalyst interface has to be optimized for the Mac. It has to use the user interface idiom of Mac in order for that to show up. You can read more about that in the documentation. That kind of goes a little bit further into the weeds, but we're just going to take a look at how we can create a toggle in SwiftUI, and then how we can apply the various styles of a toggle. All right, so in Xcode, what we're going to do is inside of our struct above our body, we need a bit of state. Now, this state variable is going to be of type Boolean, because a toggle can only be one of two values, on or off, right? So that signals to me, and it should signal to you, that it needs to be a Boolean. So we are going to say at state private var, we're going to have this be named is self-destruct enabled, bool. We're going to set that equal to false. All right. Now, by default, that's going to be off or false. So with that, we can now actually use the state. So let's go into our body, and we'll say toggle. And there are a few initializers, but the one we're going to use is the one where we have a string as its first parameter and a binding as its second parameter. So the first parameter is going to be the label for our toggle. And this label is going to be enable self-destruct. All right. And then the second parameter is going to be that binding to our state. So this particular parameter or argument has the label is on. Pretty self-explanatory. Here we'll say $, is self-destruct enabled. And that is our toggle. If we save this and we run it, all right, it should be doing its thing. All right, so here we are, we're in macOS. In macOS, we do have our toggle, but by default in macOS, it's a checkbox. Pretty simple. If we go and change our run destination, we want toolbar. We'll go iPad 10th gen. Just so I'm not spending a whole lot of time selecting a simulator. All right. Let's see. I want the simulator. Okay, it's got to load and, kind of do its thing here, obviously. We'll try running this again just so we can try to get this on screen. Okay, so now you can see we have our toggle switch there with a label next to it. We can enable that or disable it. Okay, so that's the switch style. If you don't apply a specific toggle style, it'll use a sensible system default based on its context. But we can force a specific style. So we can say .toggle style. The toggle style modifier is what we can use to, for example, specify that our toggle has to be a switch on everything. Can be a button, can be a checkbox, use an automatic style or something like that. So in here we'll say dot. So in our parentheses, we'll do dot, and then go into your code completion. You'll find automatic. Now automatic, it tells the operating system, hey, automatically give me a toggle style based on the context and some other factors. If you want a checkbox in Mac Catalyst, and you have the right project settings or target settings enabled, and you can put toggle style.automatic, and it will automatically see, oh, we're in the Mac user interface idiom. Let's use a checkbox instead of a toggle switch. Now, button we can use to create a toggle button. Switch allows you to use that switch style I mentioned. So let's take a look at button, toggle button. All right, save this, run it. And so, let's see. Just to double check, make sure everything's fine. Okay. Now, VoiceOver still announces this as a switch, but it's not a toggle switch anymore. It's now a button. So if we tap this, you can see the look of the button slightly changes. And again, it'll change back to what it was normally when we toggle it off again. Let's take a look at what this looks like in macOS. All right, there we go. Alrighty, build succeeded. Perfect. And so now, in the macOS window, you can see what looks like a normal macOS button that you'd find in every other Mac app is in our window, but VoiceOver announces it as a toggle button. If we turn it on, you can see the style changes. It kind of has a little tint to it based on your system accent color to let you know that this is enabled. And then we can turn it off again, and now it looks like a normal push button without a tint. All right. So that's the button style. Now, instead of button, let's change this to switch. And then run it. Now, this is what the toggle switch style looks like on macOS. You can turn it on, off again, all that kind of stuff. All right. So that pretty much does it for this video on toggle. Just to review, a toggle is a view that represents two states, on or off. It can be a checkbox, it can be a button, or it can be a switch. Which one you use in which scenario depends entirely on that scenario you're using it. Also depends on the context on where it's being placed and all that kind of stuff. But the ultimate thing about a toggle to remember is that it just has two states, on and off, and that's it. Okay? So thank you all so very much for watching. Make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe on the video, and subscribe to the channel, all that. And follow me on Twitter for more, because I post quite a bit over there. We'll see you next time.